Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Well, va salud. I'm flying blind here because the studio is doing all kinds of weirdness to me. I don't know what to do about that, but please give me a 5x5. Let me know that you're hearing me, because like I said, the studio is giving me no information. But we will continue on. Hopefully things get cleared up shortly. Welcome to you, Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube. Always faithful. It's always good to see you. She says, hail to the chat. Thank you so much for being here, Connie. Samuel Procter. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, my friend. Sound has speed. All's good. I am glad to hear that. Yeah, my system monitor isn't working. System monitor, as far as the studio showing back what I am broadcasting, is not working correctly. That's not, what I mean by monitor. It's not like my monitor blinked out on me or anything like that. Anyway, way more of a peek behind the curtain than you probably really needed. But anyway, so let us get into it. First thing I want to do is say how much I appreciate every single one of you. Honestly, breaking up the day this way with you guys is probably the best way to spend my days, and I super appreciate you guys. Please share out this stream. Let's get as many people in here as we can. I definitely want to grow this channel, or I won't be able to continue doing this. Looking to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I've got certain goals in mind. Please help me make them. Share this stream out. Share my channel out on all of your socials. Let your friends know, hey, check this channel out. I enjoy it, so maybe you will too. I would really, really appreciate it. Anyway, so there's been a lot of talk about this Ironheart series that's starting up on Disney Minus, and I feel like we've been here before. Another show. This one sat on the shelf for 5 years, and they decide, okay, let's just dump this out there and get it out there. They know it's not going to be terribly successful, but what are you going to do? So if you take a look at the official trailer, this was a snapshot from earlier this morning. It may have changed a little bit since then, but probably not much. You may not be able to see, but let's go ahead and advance this and look closely. 199,000 likes compared to 407,000 dislikes. There is more than twice as many dislikes as likes, which shouldn't surprise you. We saw this kind of stuff with just about every Marvel production that's gone up. And it reflects with the movies. It definitely reflects in the box office. So no one should be surprised when these things are losing money. But it's a little bit harder to see what the numbers are with a streaming service because they keep those numbers very close to the vest. But from all the analytics that we do have access to, we know Disney streaming is not doing well. Disney as a platform is very low in the ratings, let alone any individual show. But let's take this out and bring up that Park Place. What does Samuel have to say here? He said, I remember the reviews of the original Riri Williams comics back in the old Comicsgate days. They were cringe. Let's put a pin in that, Samuel. I'm specifically prepared to talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's kind of see what... so this comes to us from that Park Place, saying that Ironheart dislike ratio continues to skyrocket as fans slam trailer with 64% negative feedback. By the way, I do have this article linked below in the description for the video. Please check out that Park Place. As you can see by this VIP and the red banner across the top, I am a contributor and subscriber to their premium service. It is absolutely worth it. The insight is second to none. You really should check it out. This is not a paid spot. In fact, quite the opposite. I paid to be a member. I am just sharing with you why I do that. So let's get into it. Marvel Ironheart trailer isn't just underperforming, it's collapsing in real time under an avalanche of dislikes. When we began writing this article, the video had 312,000 dislikes. Obviously, it's gone up since then. By the time we had published, that number had already jumped to 315,000 dislikes against just 177,000 likes. That number didn't change, pushing the trailer to a brutal 64% Ironheart dislike ratio. Now, I think that ratio might be a little bit closer to 54% now. But I have to imagine, I'm just speculating. I don't know this. I don't have any insights. I'm just guessing that maybe there's some shenanigans going on to boost the positive numbers. Just guessing, like supposedly sold out theaters where there's only 2 or 3 people sitting in them. Just saying. I don't know. That's not a stumble. That's a full-on audience revolt. Nearly 2/3 of viewers who reacted to the trailer gave it a thumbs down, and with each passing hour, the gap widens. For a studio that once enjoyed near universal praise, this marks yet another alarming data point in a growing pattern of rejection. I'll drink to that. And fans are making it clear they're not here for the manufactured hype, legacy name drops, or forced replacement. Yeah, when you're doing an article talking about how badly something's doing, and there's a picture of Rachel Zegler, you know it's going to get interesting. Disney Snow White trailer is still the gold standard for backlash, racking up literally millions of dislikes and I almost said spanking. Freudian slip there. Sparking months of controversy. Now Ironheart seems to be rising up as a contender to the infamous crown, proving that Disney's superhero branch isn't immune to the same rejection plaguing its remake. The common thread? Audiences aren't responding to characters that feel like corporate replacements rather than organic, well-developed protagonists. Excellent point that I'm going to point out across the board when we go back and talk about the comics these are based on. Ironheart wasn't built through years of storytelling. She was inserted, fast-tracked, and now marketed as a spiritual successor to a hero she never even met. The marketing for Ironheart has leaned hard on the legacy of Iron Man. In a recent Empire feature, actress Dominique Thorne recalled a backstage interaction with Robert Downey Jr., who gave her 2 thumbs up. Marvel has clung to this moment, framing it as a symbolic passing of the torch. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a ringing endorsement. That's like, you go, girl. You do it. I'm out of here. Hail FKHC 2005, whom we lovingly refer to as Tim. Samuel says, after Infinity War, Marvel went from adapting the 2000s era of Marvel Comics to adapting the awful 2010s. Sana Aminat era? Yep, we'll get to that. We will get to that. The one thing that they will say, well, we're following the source material. You always say follow the source material. Let's engage the thinky bits, the critical thought. We'll get to that in just a second. But there is no actual connection, right? Tony Stark left the MCU in Avengers Endgame years before Riri Williams was introduced. There's no shared arc, no mentorship, no real bridge between them. Just a brief private interaction and a studio desperate to borrow credibility from a better era. I like that title, Dumpster Diving versus Built in a Cave. Obviously a reference to how with just meager tools at his disposal in a cave in Afghanistan. I can't remember where it was in the original because it took place before World War II. But anyway, in a cave under fire, he builds himself a suit of armor and is able, basically a walking tank, in order to preserve his own life. It's life support. It keeps his heart going and gives him the powers and the firepower to rescue himself, as opposed to, as the article says, dumpster diving. We'll get to that. She's dumpster diving, whereas Tony Stark was a bajillionaire. She said of her character, what she's able to accomplish is remarkable. Is it, though? Is it? We'll get to that. Kapla, Mark, welcome. Good to see you. Glad we could catch you before you head off to the dilithium mines. I just realized that even in the good era of the MCU, they never really referred back to Jensen's sacrifice. That, yes, exactly. Kind of a wasted opportunity for Tony's arc. Yes, that's an excellent point. I had forgotten the character. Yeah, exactly. While meant to highlight Riri's resourcefulness, the quote also sparked backlash for undercutting Stark's own origin. Fans were quick to point out Tony built his first suit in a cave while dying using scrap metal and sheer brilliance. His wealth was never a shortcut. It was part of a complex arc about responsibility, sacrifice, and personal growth. In fact, his invention of the arc reactor and his building of the Mark I was in no way aided by his wealth. In fact, his wealth was at the beginning a hindrance because his injuries, his life-threatening injuries, were a direct result of his wealth and what he had done with it up to that point. Instead of letting Riri stand on her own merits, Marvel seems to be relying on a tired playbook, elevating new characters by diminishing old ones, and that's a strategy fans are no longer tolerating. The backlash isn't just about tone or legacy, it's about strategy. Marvel will release 3 of Ironheart's 6 episodes on day 1, and a move widely seen as an attempt to inflate minutes watched metrics before the inevitable drop-off. It's the same kind of tactics used for Echo. Does anyone remember Echo? Did anyone watch Echo? Does anyone even know who that character is? Another Disney Plus series that failed to land, though in Echo's case, Marvel dropped the entire series in a single day. If Marvel had faith in Ironheart, they'd let it roll out week by week. Instead, they are front-loading it, hoping people binge just enough to pad the stats. It's not confidence, it's containment. This surge in Ironheart dislike ratio isn't a fluke, it's a referendum. Audiences are no longer buying its projects that feel engineered rather than earned. Marvel once took the time to let characters grow into icons. Now the studio seems more focused on fast-tracking replacements and banking on nostalgia to do the heavy lifting. But legacy doesn't work that way. You don't become Iron Man just because you built a suit. You don't win fans just because Robert Downey Jr. gave you a thumbs up, and you don't get to close out Phase 5 of the MCU without earning the audience's trust. Marvel's learning the hard way. I would argue they're not learning. They don't learn. They're incapable. And the numbers don't lie. So I do want to go back and again give attribution. This comes from Marvin Montanaro, who's doing great work over there at that Park Place. Again, I highly recommend you check out that Park Place and see what they're offering in their premium articles. You might realize it's worth checking out. So that was that. The other reference that I have down below, Culture Casino has a video out this morning talking about the whole all new, all different Marvel era, as Samuel Procter was bringing up earlier. So I would definitely recommend checking out that video, but I will touch on a few points that he brings up and expand on it a little bit. Welcome, Big Al of Big Al Presents. He says, hello, everyone. So good to see you, my friend. It was great hanging out with you on Saturday as we continue through Miniaturization May. We watched the classic sci-fi adventure, Fantastic Voyage. Took a trip through somebody's arteries and veins, and it was a lot of fun. Looking forward to hanging out with you again on Friday evening for Near Dark, and then the following week we'll close out Miniaturization May. So anyway, let's talk about. I don't have it up here. Where is it? I thought I had it. Oh, give me a second here. Oh, it's underneath my camera. That's why I didn't see it. So let's talk comic books. The all-new, all-different Marvel. For those of you that don't know what all-new, all-different Marvel was, it was abbreviated and it all-new, all-different Marvel. ADM. Yeah, ADAD. Yeah, or AN, whatever. It doesn't work very well as an acronym. Didn't work very well as a series either. This was the 2015 relaunch of the Marvel Universe following the events of their massive Secret Wars event earlier that year. So it's very clear what they're doing. They're literally following the comic. They did the Secret Wars. Now they're going into all new, all different. They did it in the comics. They did it here. Much like Marvel Now, their 2012 rebranding. They rebranded in 2012, and then they rebranded again in 2015. I'm just catching that now as I'm reading that. If you have to rebrand again 3 years later, you should be identifying a problem. Anyway, this new initiative was not a reboot, more of a desk reshuffling than anything else. Yeah. Let's call it that. Sure, why not? Real quick, let me check on something here. Where is my? There it is. Okay. So all new, all different Marvel picks up where Secret Wars left off with an 8-month time skip. Marvel's big on these time skips, and they don't make use of them. It just seems like lazy, we got to get caught up, not, thinking through what happens in that period. But I digress. Much like the one that preceded it during the Avengers. I don't know. Dubbed 8 months after. Oh, that really rolls off the tongue. The start of all new, all different Marvel sees characters adjusting to their new lives after the fall of Battle World with very different status quos. For example, the Fantastic Four is scattered, shakeups to the X-Men, brand new Avengers teams formed, and more. It sounds like what the MCU is going to do with that is they're going to use this as a way of integrating the multiverse in the wake of the snap and the multiverse of madness and all that kind of stuff. This is so ham-fisted. It really is. Needless to say, the Marvel Universe is starting to look all new and all different. Thus the name. In 2016, Marvel returned to the Marvel Now branding, effectively supplanting all new, all different Marvel as the new status quo for the Marvel Universe. Well, why would you do that just 1 year later? You do a rebranding and go back? I mean, what are you? HBO Max? Compared to DC Comics' DCU campaign, which launched after a similar Crisis crossover, Convergence, ended the New 52 banner, another attempt at rebranding that did not work, without rebooting their continuity. Also compared to DC Comics 1 year later, in which major status... the reason that all of these are so similar is because you got the same kind of people doing it. Postmodern neo-Marxists is what we're talking about here. But this was the part that I wanted to focus on. The all-new, all-different Marvel was really an affirmative action legacy. The all-new, all-different Avengers were mostly comprised of characters who had taken up the mantle of other heroes, specifically white male characters, including Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Sam Wilson, Captain America, Sam Alexander, Nova, and Jane Foster, Thor. X-23 took up the mantle of Wolverine, the person she was cloned from. Kitty, apparently there was some manipulation going on because a clone would be the same gender, but you gotta tweak that XY thing there. Kitty Pryde is also had also taken up the mantle of Star-Lord. Peter Quill abandoned the role to rule Spartax as its monarch prior to Secret Wars. The new giant man was Raz Malhotra, a gay Indian man. Oh, gay and Indian. Okay, so that's 2 in 1 there. The totally awesome Hulk, which, how is that better than the Incredible Hulk? The totally awesome Hulk? Totally awesome Hulk, man. Was eventually revealed to be Amadeus Cho, a Korean American. Though Peter was still active along with Miles, Hobby Brown, the Prowler, also doubled as Spider-Man when Peter was away from New York to keep up appearances. Now that actually, I think, is a clever idea. That one actually makes sense. There have been times in Batman's history, for example, where maybe Robin would take on the mantle of Batman, or someone else would fill in as Batman to keep up appearances and so forth. So not a big deal there. I think that might have been one of the good ideas they had. And the end of Standoff gave us a new female Quasar, though this is a lesser example. It gets into details about Quasar that I have no idea about. But what it comes down to is, once again, this idea of affirmative action, right? This idea that we want it to be less male and less pale because that's stale, right? So we want to force diversity. Unfortunately, you can't force it. You can't force storytelling. Let's use Riri Williams as our example. Riri Williams has no contact with the hero she is supplanting. She is portrayed as a young girl, as one of these postmodernist females that wants to stand in the shadow of true feminists, second wave feminists, first wave feminists that went before them. And so she's in school and she says to her teacher, I want to hear you tell me that I can't do this and I can't do that because I'm a girl. The teacher's like, that's not really the case. You can be anything you want to be if you put your mind to it. And when she realizes, oh, gee, this is the motivation that she needs. Okay, you can't be a scientist and an engineer because you're a girl. Okay, then they jump forward and she's, taking that to heart, and she's become, she's self-educated in engineering and science, and now she's gonna do great things, right? I don't know if the writers at the time realized this wasn't the flex they thought it was. It kind of underlines the fact that we have moved into an era where this battle for what girls could do and what they couldn't do has already been fought and won. The number of women in higher education outnumbers the number of men now. The number of women in the workforce at management level and higher is now outpacing men. This is not something to be overcome. It's already been overcome. You can fight the fake battle if you want to, third and fourth wave feminists, but I don't know what you wish to gain. So, is she such a genius? Has she pushed herself so hard that she's invented something new all on her own? No. She hacks into Stark Industries and steals the plans for the Iron Man suit and builds her own. Doesn't seem very heroic to me. She literally stole someone else's technology. We'll get there. Real quick, I want to say hi to Mikey Suze4. Welcome, sir. Welcome. And he says hi to everyone in the chat. Maria of Tea and Telly, welcome. Haven't seen you in forever. Good to see you. I am so glad you are here. Samuel Procter says, years ago, Literature Devil, never heard of Literature Devil, but okay, made a video comparing Riri's origin not to Tony, but to Spider-Man. It's a better comparison since they're both smart high schoolers who decided to fight crime. Yes, difference is that, again, Peter Parker got, just by pure random chance, got bitten by a radioactive spider and gained all these abilities and powers. Then he uses his ingenuity to tweak that by creating his gadgets, his web swingers, his spider trackers, the light on his belt, all that kind of stuff. And apparently a spider dune buggy for a short period of time. But anyway, and yet Riri Williams steals the technology and just makes her own. I mean, that's, I can buy plans on Etsy and build my own something. That doesn't make me a genius for inventing something, Yeah, the difference being Peter had actual character flaws and an arc. Yeah. He makes a bad choice to begin with, and it results in his uncle getting killed. And he realizes with great power comes great responsibility. I don't feel like the modern neo-Marxists actually understand the concept of personal responsibility, though. We call that Hulk Gogurt Hulk. That's interesting. Okay, never heard of that. Kitty Pride? Isn't that a brand of cat litter? Oh, yeah, that's Cat's Pride. Yeah, pretty much. And I still enjoy the multiverse, though through Miles' eyes animated than Peter's in live action. Fair enough. Come to think of it, there is a character that actually pulls off the idea of taking the iconic character's legacy well without meeting them. That's Spider-Man 2099. Miguel O'Hara, it can be done well. Yeah, that's actually a great example. His storyline is, I think he becomes a Spider-Man after Peter is dead. He's no longer around, so it's not like there could be a handoff of the mantle or anything. He is also a character who doesn't choose his powers; they are thrust upon him, and he learns the what do you call it? The need for personal responsibility, doing something good with his powers, and he's not stealing anything. He's literally honoring someone who went before him because his power set is very similar. I don't think people ever saw that as a usurpation, right? Where was I going with this? So you have a young black girl stealing technology and then dubbing herself Ironheart. You seeing the problem there? You have a Mary Sue, identity politics insert, stealing. Is this really a stereotype we want to perpetuate? who is your audience on this? It's not the people you claim it to be. I don't think we want our young black girls looking up to a thief who didn't achieve anything on her own. She stole it. Or maybe it is. Maybe that is the message that you're sending. Great men do not seek power. They have power thrust upon them. Yes. That's how it was said in Star Trek. Greatness is not sought. Great men have it thrust upon them. Exactly. There is a dichotomy to that. I've heard people talk about, how so many of our representatives, our leaders, are sociopaths. And is it that power corrupts absolutely, or is it that being corrupt attracts you to power? Maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But be that as it may, probably the best leaders are always the ones that don't want to do it, but they do it because they feel they have to. They want to address some kind of wrong and correct it. And they're eager to get out of it as soon as possible. There is a reason that George Washington, for example, stepped down. And we didn't have a limitation on how long someone could be a president until FDR. When someone finally, kind of overstayed, and we started to go, okay, maybe we need to put a limit on this. Up until then, people kind of limited themselves. They went in, they did what they needed to do, and they left. Now, I'm oversimplifying, I'm overgeneralizing, and you can probably point to examples to refute that, but I'm talking in wide generalities. If you look at the and I'm gonna look at Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is not a character that people do not like. I liked Sam Wilson. I liked Sam Wilson for years. He was a partner to Captain America for a lot of years. Whereas Bucky was his sidekick for years. So there was a equal partnership with the Falcon. He had his own identity, Captain America had his, and Bucky was in many ways being trained to be a possible future Captain America. I mean, that wasn't the intent. That wasn't why he was the sidekick. That wasn't why Cap had him as a sidekick. But in narrative terms, you could see that coming about. That's why in the comics, when something happens and, Steve has to step out of being Captain America, originally it was Bucky who took up the mantle. Now, keep in mind, in the comics, there was a different relationship between Bucky and Cap. Between the movies and the comics, they were different. In the comics, they served together in World War II, and Steve Rogers was an older guy. He was, I don't know, I guess he was in his late 20s, early 30s, whereas Bucky was like 17, 18, whereas they put them at the same age in the films. So it changed the dynamic between them. You didn't have that Bucky Cap history that you did in the comics, which very closely paralleled Batman and Robin and, all the other superheroes who had, younger sidekicks. So when Bucky took on the mantle of Cap, nobody batted an eye. Made perfect sense. When they eventually give it to Sam Wilson, for no other reason than they wanted Black Captain America, everyone goes, but I liked Falcon. He created his own identity. He didn't need to take on someone else's mantle. He had created his own. Is it not enough? Do we not want people that are self-made? Is that not a good thing? Do we need to tokenize them and say, that's just not good enough? Here, take this shield and wear the red, white, and blue, and we'll give you somebody else's name, a name that someone else made, some white guy made. That's pandering. That's tokenizing, and that's diminishing to someone who is already a great, great character. Would Bucky have made a better Captain America? Perhaps, but then Sam Falcon gets a job instead, and comic book fans, as well as others, think that was a very bad choice. Yeah, that's exactly right. Another thing that, there's a lot of comic book wibbly wobbly timey wimey-ness to it. That whole Winter Soldier thing, that was necessary to bring Bucky into the modern age, because Cap already had his hibernation freeze that brought him into the modern age. If you don't do that, you can't have Bucky in the modern age. But what was great about Bucky as taking over as Captain America was that he was also that man out of time kind of person. He's got sensibilities from a bygone era in many positive ways. I think a lot of things that we need again today. Sense of responsibility, what's right and wrong, strive for the best, that sort of thing. But that doesn't fit in with the modern neo-Marxist, America bad, old things bad, kill the past if you have to. If you told pre-2014 Falcon to replace Cap's mantle, he would have definitely said, screw you, I ain't no token. Exactly right. I just brought up my Avengers Volume 3, Issue 27. I quote, Falcon replying to rejoining the Avengers to fill a quota. Sorry, Cap, I sympathize and all, but I played Earth's mightiest token once. Yeah. And I'd rather not do it again. Yeah. But I think that in this DEI, the people involved with this are not the people that are being represented. They are a bunch of white liberals that want to, make themselves feel good and tokenize. To me, especially, this is welcome, by the way, Nate. Good to see you. To me, especially in the MCU, Sam didn't need to be Captain America. Bucky did. Bucky did it to be Captain America, to try to atone for all the wrong that he was forced to do under the control of Hydra. Right, the whole Winter Soldier thing. Exactly right. So another version of what can be unburdened by what has been. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what neo-Marxism is in a nutshell. But there was a statistic that and I just want to pivot this a little bit. I think we're all on the same page about this tokenizing and how it really doesn't help anything. But in that video that I linked below that Culture Casino did earlier today, he cites that in the 12. By the way, when Ironheart had her own title, she only made it 1 year. She got 12 issues. Kind of like a certain Captain Marvel, who they get a year and a half out of, and then reboot the title because the title doesn't sell. The last issue of Ironheart sold a grand total of 9,011 issues. It's one of the lowest selling comics for Marvel. No wonder they canceled it. So this is what I've always said. If you've got a comic book line that sells with numbers like that, right? And then you go, hey, let's make a streaming series out of this. Isn't that kind of like going to the refrigerator and finding the milk's gone bad and chunky and going, well, we'll just put it back and we'll see if it's better tomorrow. How does that usually work out? Past his prologue. Sam as Cap was handled very badly in the comics, and they did make many of the same mistakes in the MCU. Thank you, by the way, and welcome, Robert's Infinite Realms. This actually is a good point. I don't think people would have had such a problem with Sam as Cap if it was done differently and planned out better, right? If there was a situation where it had been handed off, for example, to Bucky, and something happens to Bucky, and there is no Captain America, no one else to take the mantle, and he volunteers and says, look, I'll do this, but, just understand I'm doing this on a temporary basis because, I've got my own identity, or something like that. I don't know. Ironheart comic was so bad, Bendis went back and said he was trying to create an unlikable character years later. Yeah, and that's just him trying to save face, right? Why does someone go out of their way to create a character you don't like? And if that's the case, why would you want to adapt them to a TV series? Sorry, I meant to bring this one up. Haters, hates how dumb the MCU is if they wanted a black Captain America and maybe changing the origins of characters. Why didn't they just... Yeah, I was thinking about Isaiah Bradley, a new Captain America in the morning time. I think there might be some typos there, but I get what you mean. Isaiah Bradley was a black soldier who they experimented on in a very Tuskegee-esque way. You could get some really good commentary on race and the mistreatment of people because of the color of their skin with that, who gained the powers of Captain America. They mentioned him, or they had him featured in, was it Thunderbolts or something recently? Again, wasted potential. I don't know. Hello, Netter of Netter's Network. I'm guessing you were probably in a meeting this afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for the hearts. I love you too. The MCU is taking characters from the new comics that didn't work and nobody liked and trying to force them into the MCU. Yeah, and how's that? How do you think that is as a business strategy? Is that something you think's going to work? And again, keep in mind, this Ironheart thing was 5 years on the shelf. The only reason they're putting it out is because we need content. Just throw it out there. Just throw it out there. Samus Cap on paper, I dig it. The way they did it was bad. The only one I liked in the comics was Jane as Thor. At least there was a story there. Jane was sick, etc., and was semi-compelling. You also realize that has to be a temporary storyline, right? This whole, she's got cancer thing puts a definite finite limit on that arc. If I recall correctly, because I wasn't reading comics at this point. I'd noped out long before. I noped out at the Spider-Man Clone Saga, which I'm pretty sure predates all this Secret Wars stuff. But for me, Secret Wars was back in the 80s when Spider-Man first got his suit, the black suit. But didn't she use Mjolnir to become become Lady Thor or whatever, and just stay that way, because as long as she was, in that form, she wasn't dying. And that was like, you can't do that. That's no. And again, it's always a temporary thing, and talk about taking on a mantle, right? Taking on literally the mantle of the thunder god of the Asgard pantheon. You're literally usurping a god by doing that. That's got to be a temporary thing, At least Beta Ray Bill, when he proved himself to be worthy of Mjolnir, Odin made him his own hammer, which I'm sure has a name that I just don't remember. Having Jane become She-Thor, to me anyway, wasn't entirely a bad thing. I liked her for her intelligence. She kept, and in a lot of ways, it kind of, to me, works on some of the same energy of the times that Lois Lane has become Superwoman. It's usually a temporary thing, but it's kind of cool when superheroes, significant other, gets to see things from their point of view, every now and again. Actually, I'd kind of now like to see that in the new Superman series, movies. Lois Lane gets Superman's powers for one movie, and she does something, and Clark can come back and say, "Well, didn't you think about this before you did it? Lives are at stake." Sound familiar, Lois? Just saying. Just saying. Yes, and that's the other good point. Sometimes the what ifs work better as what ifs. One-offs, you look at it, you get the implication of the story, and then you go back to the main line. The original What If comics were some of the best, sometimes very heartbreaking stories, sometimes very funny. There was one series, What If Aunt May had been bitten by the radioactive spider, which I thought was hysterical. I thought it was brilliant. Look it up. It's definitely worth it. I think that is about our time for today. I super appreciated this. Just wanted to vent a few of my thoughts about this current era of and let's face it, you have these insert characters usurping the roles of people of greater people before them, people that actually made contributions, stolen valor, right? But what do you expect? Kevin Feige is the one who's running Marvel. Talk about stolen valor. He did not create the MCU that we loved. He just destroyed the MCU that we loved, and then takes credit for what it was, and then tries to blame it on superhero fatigue or whatever. I don't know, guys. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, not calling anyone in particular a horse, just, using an analogy, but we deserve better as fans. Friday, we will talk about fans doing the best work and creating their own fan films with Mikey Suse 4. Netter will be getting a note out to you with specifics on that, and Clifton 3D as guests. That's Friday night at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. I want to thank you so much, Geek Flag, with Nate Knows dropping a $2 super chat to say the MCU is dying an embarrassing death. Yeah, this isn't how you want to go. You don't want to. This is not how you want to go out, right? Tony Stark, I Am Iron Man. That was self-sacrifice in the extreme, right? That's a good way to go out. If he had, I Am Iron Man and tripped and fell off of a cliff and, crushed his skull, that is not a good way to go out. But anyway, yes. So Friday, hope to see you all for Last Call. Also, Friday evening before Last Call, lead into that, I will be hanging out with Big Al and Deleted Scenes for I think a sleeper hit vampire film, Near Dark. I love that movie. It was years before I saw it, and it was one I wished I had seen sooner. So we'll check that one out together. Friday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Of course, we're going to have Liquid Lunch all this week. I hope to see you on the next one tomorrow, and every day during the week at noon. Later tonight, the members will be joining me for The Car from 1977 as we celebrate Aged Boomer's birthday, which is this week. It's just, we're watching the movie tonight because it's Members Night at the Movies. If you are not a member and would like to join us or would just like to support the channel, I really need the support or I won't be able to continue doing this. It's just $2 a month. I would be eternally grateful. And, you could join us for the Members Night at the Movies every Monday night, where you get a chance to vote on what movie we will be watching for. In fact, in a less formal way, you can certainly suggest what movie goes onto the poll, and we can vote on it. So you get the input. You get to decide what we do on Monday nights. And of course, tomorrow night, live from Sparkwood and 21. We're going to try to start that a little early, but there's no guarantees on that. Another Lynch film rewatch to talk about, and that is The Elephant Man. Award-winning film. We'll talk about that. And then immediately followed by the season 3, episode 3 of Blake 7. The episode is Volcano. And that is where I will be all this week. Nope, I'm forgetting one other thing. Thursday, live premiere of our interview. Netter and myself interviewed Charlotte Nightstar, the werewolf. That will premiere in the regular Thursday Things slot at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Thursday. We will be there live in the chat and hope to see you there. Sorry, did I bring up the wrong one? Where you should say, or have her page me on Mikey Susie 4 community page. Okay, I will have her do that. Thank you so much, Mikey. And that is our show for tonight. This afternoon. Go back to being productive citizens. You have a great one. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for Liquid Lunch. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.